Our entire enterprise now is dedicated to insurance and risk management. And it's an incredible industry, a multi-trillion-dollar business. Insurance helps the world run. If people can't get insurance on an activity, they tend to not engage in that activity. If you couldn't have your car insured, you'd be a lot more reluctant to drive. If you couldn't get home insurance, you'd be a lot less likely to buy that next house. Insurance is a very important business. By the very nature of insurance, it involves risk. And I think that these large companies, whether they're a $150 billion company, like the largest P&C insurance company on the planet, or whether they're a $10 million startup insurer or MGA or broker or a third-party administrator, they've got to figure out how to innovate. They've got to figure out how to use people, process, and technology to change the way that they do things before a competitor comes in and wipes them out. Even in $100 billion organizations, bootstrapping can apply. Now, it's been interesting watching most of the large insurance carriers and players in insurance form venture capital arms and start funding startups with VC funding. One of the more surprising things was that they were more willing to write a check to people who weren't in the company than to fund internal efforts, which really surprised me. That they would literally write a $10 million check to a company they'd never dealt with, and they wouldn't write $1 million check to fund an internal initiative for similar things. And so I think it's important for them to remember that there are a lot of corporate entrepreneurs already in their ranks. Step one, right? The key to really any innovation and improvement is people, process, and technology. We're in the T side of that, the technology. So we build tools and we provide labor, right? Because we both do professional services for insurance and we sell products to insurance companies. And so we help enable that transformation either through building products or through selling the products we've already built. But I think it's important for them to remember that if they focus on the low-hanging fruit, the easy to adopt, easy to implement items, or they focus on the really high ROI items, like overhauling a key system that they know drives results, they can use the profit from the improvement to fund further improvements. They can build a flywheel. They can build a machine that keeps spinning even if there's no more corporate investment. So I think that bootstrapping principles, if they really say, okay, what is the revenue generating activity we can start doing that can generate a profit that will provide the budget and funding that we need to build what we really want to build? You can do that inside of a $100 billion company or $1 billion company or a $200 million company or a $50 million company. You can execute that bootstrap playbook. Now, technology is almost always going to be part of that solution set in insurance, because it's a data business. It's literally the work product, like the end product for insurance is a document, right? It's not a building, it's a document, it's a contract. And so it's important to remember what the end product is. And good insurance companies are really great with data, and they're really good with their systems, and they're really good at taking risk and calculating risk. That can bite them in the butt sometimes when they're looking at investment and disrupting themselves, because by their very nature, they focus on stability and a strong foundation and a low tolerance for risk, right? That's like, they're supposed to be that way. They're supposed to be really, really calculated in their risk. But sometimes you really got to be really proactive in investing in new ideas and technologies and innovations that could transform your company. And so I think that's a really important topic for them to think about, is how can, instead of coming back to the corporate investment committee for more and more investment, how can we teach bootstrapping principles along with effective use of people, process, and technology to drive innovation and to transform companies from the inside out, rather than a competitor coming along or having to acquire someone because they've figured out how to do it and you haven't.